Rifftrax. Never pick tracks where the riffs are missing. Why you always gotta pick Rifftrax? It's your lucky day, it's time for Rifftrax.
Hello, I'm Faith, and welcome to Faith's Take, where I talk about anything and everything that I find interesting. And welcome to episode 34 of Every Rifftrax Short Reviewed, where I take 5 Rifftrax shorts in chronological order, review them, and give them a rating between 1 and 5, with the points being good, great, awesome, fantastic, and spectacular, because I don't think a bad Rifftrax short exists. It's great to be back to this series after some nightmarish college courses. We've got some fantastically hilarious shorts to come back to, so let's dive right into episode 34 of Every Rifftrax Short Reviewed. Number 166, The Clean Club, from February 2nd, 2012.
Now my poor old Auntie Sneeze it's to ride with this grimy little kid.
This slightly unhygienic son of a bitch.
I'm just gonna get this out of the way first. This is one bizarre short. I know that sounds a lot like most of the shorts we've covered here, but seriously, this one is pretty dang weird. We open with some claymation monsters that turn out to be germs, living on a little girl who makes Pigpen look like Mr. Clean. But not only are these germs sentient, these are sentient germs who sound like they smoke 12 packs a day and rhyme everything they say to beatnik music.
I tell you young punks, there's nothing like living on a real dirty kid.
Is a sentence that should prompt immediate jail time.
Yeah. No better living than a nice dirty sweat gland. Lucky you found me in here.
So some California raisins have moved into this kid's sweat glands?
Safe as you. Lots of kids might seem like messy brats.
Or folk musicians.
Never know when something might make them clean up their acts.
Clean up their racks?
That's right, Greek chorus made of scabs.
Please smash us back into lumps of clay.
Hey, cheer up, guys. Don't be sad. Smile, be happy, 'cause life's not bad.
Yes it is. You live in a booger. Stop kidding yourself.
Kid, but just wait till you hear what this kid did.
Oh my god, it's worse than killing a cop.
The short then takes a page out of the Beginning Responsibility series of shorts, as the head germ tells stories of when inanimate objects came to life to critique the hygiene of all the little filth-covered moppets of the world. These Beauty and the Beast rejects end up convincing the hobo children to join the Clean Club, which might be the lamest name for a group of kids since the Posture Pals.
Just wanted a cookie.
For shame! Just look at your hands.
Sure, but first... Get away, devils!
Let me show you something. A little hot water, please.
Great, my soap talks like a movie hooker.
Don't forget me.
Mom, I think the toiletries are coming on to me.
I'll see you later.
No deal, mister.
Oh, please tell me this kid will have a later.
But this friend of mine named Sloppy Joe
Invented a hamburger dish and then retired to Florida.
All right, troops.
Attack!
We've taken this mess long enough. Rise up against this sloppy slob.
Sloppy slob.
I've killed men for less.
Good when I get close. See how you like it.
It's got a knife!
Okay, I surrender.
Ha! Clothes don't take prisoners.
Spur to the front. We'll race you to the washing machine.
Whoa, kid has the arm of a white adult.
Let's have a look at those teeth.
It's like Breaking Bad somehow produced a child.
The Clean Club series is proud to introduce last year's most valuable player, the teeth.
Help! You don't want to know what they did with the rest of my body. They're savages. Run while you can.
All it takes to keep up.
Do that after every meal, especially after eating sweets.
Yeah, maybe lay off the cigarettes before you get all preachy, you wheezy toothpaste bastard.
And
So, you need to wash off the old oil every day.
Whatever you say, just dial back the sexy, for the love of God.
This grimy short is so odd it has to be seen, and it gets a 4 out of 5.
So the lesson here is that your room can clean itself supernaturally much faster than you could ever do it yourself.
Let the grime and bacteria build up until your clothes become sentient and take care of it themselves, yes.
And a little appeal to Satan's twisted magic couldn't hurt.
Never does.
Number 167, David and Hazel, A Story in Communication from February 16th, 2012.
Hello, David.
Gin and tonic, woman.
Along with the weird, we've also seen the depressing when it comes to Rifftrax shorts. We've seen kids with broken homes, kids with no friends, even kids whose own toys hate them. But I'd like to say that with all that sadness, it's nothing compared to the absolutely miserable lives of David and Hazel. What about this short is so sad, you may ask? Well, it features the titular married couple of David and Hazel and the empty lives they lead. You see, David might be fired from his job from the company soon, as they'll be downsizing. So does he tell his wife in order to figure out how to work things out together? Nope, he just becomes an enraged psychopath, screaming at Hazel and their kids with barely any hesitation. And does Hazel at least ask what's wrong and try to figure out how to help her obviously upset husband in this time of need? Nope, she just figures he'll tell her what's wrong on his own terms. So as you can see, these two make for a real power couple.
I'm surprised. That isn't like you.
How do you mean?
Well, you're such an open guy around here.
Like that time you cried and I held you?
Oh.
Ah, beautiful. One of these days I'm going to put a picture of my wife in here instead of the one that came with the frame.
Oh, this is terrible. Tom's signature is almost unreadable.
Well, good thing I keep a bottle of bourbon and a gun in my desk.
This concerns her just as much as it concerns me.
Well, this is as far as it's going in my family.
I'm husband and minister of propaganda.
Look, supposing I tell Hazel, naturally she's going to get all upset. Then I find out they're going to keep me on.
She might be relieved and happy.
I got her all worked up over...
Well, what do you do when David gets mad?
Before or after I call the police?
Oh, he doesn't lose his... I still don't know how you stand it when he gets moody.
Oh, I keep busy. I bake and I make special meals.
Cry into my wedding dress.
You remember those? I got these swatches yesterday. I want to make some new curtains for Anne. Keeping busy.
Get out, you hateful cow!
She needs some... Don't bring that phone across there. Somebody's going to fall over it and kill themselves.
This guy might do it anyway.
Hi. Would you like to lie down before we eat?
What for?
I'm as resentful as I'm gonna get.
Dinner was ruined when one of the children made eye contact with father.
Thank you. Now, it's about time you learned to face up to your own problems.
Dinner's ready.
You have to imagine this family really goes all out for Father's Day.
What's this?
Roast beef.
Roast beef? What do you think we are, millionaires? From now on, try to be a little more intelligent about the way you spend money.
Roast beef, the opulent food of kings.
David, aren't we proud of Anne, dear?
Sure we are.
Certainly aren't planning on selling her into slavery to cover our debts. That's ridiculous.
David, try these beans. I fixed them a special way with almonds.
Almonds? Who do you think we are, King Nebuchadnezzar II of Babylon?
Hazel ends up finding out about David's job thanks to the social media of the 1950s, the suburban neighbor you run into at the grocery store. As is to be expected, the silence, rage, and pain continue to tear the family apart at the seams until they just can't take it anymore. After an explosive fight, which should have happened weeks ago at this point, David and Hazel end up spending the rest of their evening with a very drawn-out, pretty much one-sided conversation while their kids are shown cowering in their bedrooms. And in the end, we never see David and Hazel working out their issues, coming to terms with David's possibly losing his job and screaming at Hazel and the kids, Hazel never asking David why he's ever upset, or anything that could possibly pass as an actually productive conversation.
Do you know if they're going to be firing anymore?
Well, Cliff says he doesn't know, but we're prepared just in case. I'm scared, aren't you?
I've heard that men who don't talk to their wives are most likely to be fired. Have you heard that?
I wonder how long it'll be before we know for sure.
There's no telling. Poor Cliff. All the tension's off.
Cliff might have to become a mailman and spend all his time in a bar.
Well, I'm not asking for anything extra. You do owe me my allowance.
Now, don't you get fresh with me, young lady. I said no, and that's that.
If you keep getting fresh, I'll send you to live with your auntie and uncle in Bel Air.
I was talking to Marion Robertson. She told me all about it.
Well, it sounds like I'll be seeing Marion Robertson's name in the paper tomorrow.
Awful part is I didn't know.
Don't you see, honey, I didn't want you to know.
Just like the thing I've got going with the secretary. Oh, damn it!
Haven't I always taken care of you and the kids? Well, now, haven't I?
But you've never been fired before. Or have you? I wouldn't know.
No, I have not.
Don't let Chippendales tell you different.
I happen to have this...
Look at him. Already planning the embarrassing poems he'll write about this fight to read aloud in a college intro to fiction writing course someday.
Still dwelling on that bad class, huh, Kevin?
It was hell.
Oh, God, and now Marmaduke.
David, may I get you a cold, half-eaten turnip I found under a bus?
What do you think, we're made of money?
I'm sorry.
These two make the cast of Twilight seem like the Spice Girls.
We've never fought like that before.
Without nunchucks. It's just not as fun.
David, I want to say something to you.
Spackle Pants. Thanks for listening.
I'm sorry you found out.
I thrive on your ignorance.
When I think of all the times that
Line?
Okay.
I pretended everything was fine and I've been just miserable.
Thank God for booze.
Thanks to our riffers, this 28-minute spectacle of pain and resentment is one of the most enjoyable shorts in the Rifftrax repertoire, and it totally earns a 5 out of 5.
Aw, that's sweet. They're gonna carry on their grim, gray, purposeless existence.
Message: life is an absurd death march into the abyss, to be endured rather than enjoyed.
Number 168, Sailing a Toy Boat from February 28th, 2012.
So Frank places the boat in the water.
And it breaks every boat-sinking record in history.
A short just as simple as its title, this is about, you guessed it, kids sailing a toy boat and all the fun that can come from it. However, instead of sailing a toy boat, we open with a couple of kids feeding ducks. We're also treated to some of the most boring narration you can imagine from the kid's father. The father then shows up in the story and hands the kids a new boat, which of course they immediately let float out of their reach. And all of this is about as interesting as watching paint dry.
Sailing a toy boat.
Rated R for graphic nudity.
We call it the duck pond because there are so many white ducks here.
Its official name is Restricted Sewage Runoff Area No Swimming.
And there they are. They have followed Frank and Jean over to the other side.
Unsatisfied, Jean demands the ducks pledge their allegiance with a blood oath.
Pond. But Frank sees someone coming. It's Dad, he shouts, and he runs to meet me.
Little do they know I've been omnisciently narrating them the whole time.
What do you think it can... Oh, look, says Jean. Look at Frank's boat.
This was before fun had been invented.
In order to catch the boat, little Frank runs across the pond to get help from some older kids, who not only help him get the boat back, but even give him some tips on how to sail it. Keep in mind, this kid's parents were mere yards away while all this was happening and didn't seem to give a dang about their own kids, apparently. Frank and his sister Jean then decide to put Jean's doll on the boat, and it goes about as well as you'd expect. And then it's up to their dog Penny to save the day.
Frank runs, and here are some older boys.
Guys, help, this narrator thinks he's my dad.
If you loosen this string, he says, the breeze will catch in the sail, and the boat will go in a circle and come back to you.
Too bad there's no other authority figure around who might have given a young boy that advice.
And he thought, come here, Frank. I have a surprise for you.
I found a body in the weeds.
Jean, why not put my doll on the boat, she says. Let her rest on the boat while it is in the harbor. Why not let her go way out on the pond, says Frank.
So she can strangle a duck with her bare doll hands.
He won't sing. Look what has happened to my doll. The boat tipped over and she is in the water.
Daddy is, I am concerned.
Will the duck see her? Penny, please, save Dolly. Penny.
Penny slips into his Batman costume.
Understand? Swimming with Dolly held in his mouth.
Crushing Dolly with his powerful jaws.
It is safe and sound in the harbor.
Nestled in muck and garbage.
The short itself is so dull it's ridiculous, but the riffs are able to elevate it to a very funny 2.5 out of 5.
And now Penny understands what Frank wanted.
Understanding Frank's innermost desires chills Penny to his core, yet he is unable to communicate them to anyone who could stop him.
Number 169, Alcohol from March 1st, 2012.
Will you come home right after work for a change?
What do you mean, for a change? Look, all I ever have is 1 or 2 after I get off work to relax a little.
Then I sleep it off in a dumpster. What's wrong with that?
If David and Hazel didn't fill you up on your daily depression intake, then here's a short to fill it the rest of the way. Meet Chuck, a guy with a drinking problem that's starting to affect everything in his life, from his work to his off time to his marriage. We open with his boss chewing him out for buying alcohol on the business's money. Now, as someone who used to work in an office as an accounting assistant, let me tell you guys, they always know what you're using the credit card for. No matter how well you think you've hidden that alcohol purchase on the company dime, your accounting department knows what's going on. Don't take the risk. Just trust me on this one.
Alcohol, the fuel that makes our economy run.
We're pretty generous and pretty lenient when it comes to expense money.
We want to keep you in hair gel.
And if a guy's getting results, we don't question the amounts too much.
What about this Diamond Pimp Cup?
I also know that he doesn't drink much. Unless he's got someone to drink with him. So I bought him a few drinks to loosen him up.
That explains the hotel bill.
Sure, he's the one who needs... You're spending too much, Chuck. But... Now, don't get me wrong.
I love wasting money, too.
Inspect ourselves.
Why, thank you. My new glasses do make me look more repulsive.
Oh, why didn't I marry booze?
Sometimes I feel like this is the only place I can really relax in.
Since I got banned from Chuck E. Cheese.
Ever since.
Oh, hi, how are you? No, it's fine. I'm on my lunch hour. And anyway, I'm always glad to hear from my favorite mother-in-law.
As a polygamist, I have dozens.
Chuck spends the afternoon getting wasted with a coworker at lunch, goes back to the office looking like a soft breeze could knock him over, and then decides to spend the night binge drinking with an old pal of his. The problem is, in his sloppy and drunken state, Chuck forgets that he and his wife had dinner plans with his own parents that night. He wakes up the next morning as hungover as could be predicted, and his wife is rightfully furious with him. And much like David and Hazel, we get an argument with no actual resolution.
At least I've got my expense account, pays for lunch and the odd dinner.
Oh, I bet he has a lot of odd dinners.
That's what I look like after reading a particularly good Marmaduke.
What actually goes on at Rifftrax headquarters?
Well, there are no ties.
Or pants.
What do you say we talk about it over dinner, huh?
That's great, eh?
And maybe go out in the town?
So the place they go to dinner won't be part of the town.
Listen, I gotta see old man Samuels for a minute or so. What do you say I meet you back here in about an hour?
That's great, and we'll get an early start.
Hang on. Hey, sweetheart.
Suddenly I miss my dad.
Get up!
What time is it?
It's nearly 8 o'clock.
You have to give your sermon in 10 minutes.
So I stayed downtown, had a few too many drinks.
If only to avoid our hideous drapes.
Remember?
This time, tell your mother. We were supposed to have dinner with your parents last night, remember?
She sounds like one of the Kennedys trying to do a Barbara Walters impression.
Come on, Vic's formula, work your dark magic.
Thought you understood when I got this promotion.
Too close, too close!
We're getting by. Before you got the promotion, only now we're getting by on a bigger scale.
Camera work by a drugged farm animal.
This boozed up short is another example of something ultra depressing made lighthearted by Mike, Kevin, and Bill, and it gets a 4.5 out of 5.
Now's probably a bad time for him to spring it on her that Nick Nolte's coming over for Bloody Marys. And he's bringing his drum kit so they can jam a little.
Number 170, Cooks and Chefs from March 8th, 2012.
If you're qualified, you can find a steady job with good pay any place where food is prepared.
And if you're unqualified, there's always Arby's.
Everyone loves good food, but have you ever stopped to think of just how many cooks and chefs there have to be out in the world to keep all of our pie holes full? Well, it's a lot. From those who work at restaurants, to those on planes, trains, and ships, to those in hospitals and schools, everywhere you turn, there's a cook and/or chef nearby.
Sterling Educational Films, go to hell! Hey, I didn't get to insinuate that they owed Coronet money.
Sorry, Bill.
Wherever there are people, there's a need for cooks.
What's the deal with this food, ma'am?
Supervise them. Hospitals, schools, and other institutions may need specialists.
If your hospital doesn't, consider getting surgery elsewhere.
The opportunities to the kind of work you do depends on the type of place in which you work.
A fact so basic, you just got dumber from hearing us say it.
You can advance steadily wherever you work, if you do a good job and show an aptitude for your work.
As opposed to, say, an aptitude for spreading hepatitis.
I worked as a short order cook at a hamburger stand. I'm looking for a position that will allow me more of an opportunity
to not be a short order cook at a hamburger stand.
After describing all the different positions available in a kitchen, the narrator assures us that by working in all the various areas, we can claw our ways to the top and then make horrendous piles of junk that no longer even resemble something edible. However, then the short just stops out of nowhere as if we're supposed to forget everything we've just witnessed.
If you're ambitious, you can learn more about cooking while holding a steady job with good pay.
Actual jobs may not pay well at all.
You may work with the butcher, the vegetable cook,
the Swedish chef,
the fry cook,
the cheese moistener,
the broiler cook.
The soiler what?
The man in charge of the kitchen, the head chef,
has a
is an
really
expert
gay
in all
scarf.
kitchen operations. He plans menus and work schedules.
He pours milk into things. Can you do that? I thought not.
No way.
If you like the idea of bread, but prefer to have yours made out of whipped animal organs.
Is responsible. A talented chef makes his dishes look as good as they taste.
And unfortunately, that holds true for this abomination before God.
At mealtime, the pressure is really on.
Bum. Hey, Bob, you good? I think I'm going to go out back, grab a smoke.
Piece of cake, sure.
If he has made himself a master of his trade, he can fulfill his ambitions.
His ambition to never be more than a few inches away from meat.
I'm going to try one of those newfangled baked potatoes.
And I'm going to get one of those little piles of rubbery mixed vegetables that are utterly devoid of flavor.
What? Work as a chef or something. Goodbye.
Yeah, bye.
This delicious short is so full of flavor that it gets a 4.5 out of 5.
I assume that was a special order for an insane person?
Asks for all his food to be served in a pineapple, doesn't touch a bite of it, sets exactly $400.11 on the table, takes off his shirt, and leaves.
Cooks and chefs must be able to...
As always, thank you all so much for watching, and special thanks to all of my fantastic Patreon supporters, including Jackie Ball, Kevin Nata, Victor Cordova, and Tony G. We covered some of my absolute favorite shorts to rewatch here, and it was a perfect lineup to get back into the series. Thank you as usual for all your incredible patience with me and my hectic school schedule. Thanks again, and I'll see you guys later. This boozed up short is another example of something ultra No matter how well you think you've hidden that alcohol purchased on the company dime, your accounting department... After describing all the different positions available in a kit... Number 170. Cooks and chefs from Martha... Shoot. We can claw our ways to the top and make horrendous piles of junk that no longer even resemble something edible before topping the short out of no... Dang it.